Okay, for our next lesson, we are going to talk about composition. And again, this is a part of the elements and principles of art that I mentioned previously. And these different pieces create an effective piece of work. And one of them, the one that I feel is the most important, is composition. Composition is the way that you arrange things on a page to make them visually interesting. So there's some do's and there's some don'ts in art when you're trying to make an effective piece. So I'm going to show you an example and you're going to tell me which one you like better. Okay. This one with all the circles or this one? You're probably going to choose this one. And the reason that you like this one more is because it has a variety of sizes of circles. It has circles that overlap one another. Nothing is placed directly in the center. There isn't an abundant amount of stuff on one side and less on the other where it creates a division. Okay, so it's about negative space as well. You have some negative space up here, but this area might be more of the focal point. Now, I realize that you can't read this because it's all backwards. So I'm going to take a picture of this and I'm going to post it for you guys. But what it says is composition is the way that you arrange objects on a page to make them visually interesting. Don't put an object in the center. And I put this all here for you, but because it's backwards, you can't read it. But I'm going to post it for you so you can. You want to have an object coming off of the page and not just touching the side. When you have an object just touching the side, that kind of traps the viewer into looking only in the center and around the page. But when you have something coming off of the page, your eye finds the end of that focal point or the end of that dot, which creates the canvas in a much larger aspect. Your mind kind of plays tricks a little bit. So I can show you that by looking at these. This one is don't do that. That's where it's just touching the side. This one is it coming off the page. So your eye is going to find this point, whether you realize it or not. So that's the example of having something come off the page and not touching the side. This is don't divide anything in half. Like I talked about up here, our focal point is more or less over here. So if I had a whole bunch of stuff over here and a whole bunch of stuff over here, it would create a division, and we don't want that. So we want to have some negative space. Okay, so for our project, I'm going to have my assistant Olivia come over here and we're going to talk about composition. This is an exercise. So if you have popsicle sticks, that would be best because they're flat, but we do not have popsicle sticks. So we went outside and found sticks. So Olivia, show us these sticks.
I dropped a stick.
They're all about the same size. They're nice and straight. And what Olivia is going to do is drop these on paper. Let me switch this up. Oh, I guess I can't. Okay. So what I did here is I cut 4 different pieces of paper that are all the same size. And the exercise is that you're going to drop these sticks onto the paper, and however they land, you're going to trace them. If something falls off of the paper, then you don't trace it. If something just partially touches the paper, you trace it. And this is an exercise about different compositions. So out of these 4 different ones you're going to complete, you're going to rank them 1 through 4 in which one you think is the best, and 4 being the one you think is the worst, and you're going to explain why. And you're going to use the different topics that I just talked about, or these key ingredients of composition, the do's and don'ts, so that you have a very good, knowledgeable answer. So your answer cannot be, I don't like it, this is no good. You're going to say, I don't like this because it's all right in the center, right? Or it's divided in half and it's too evenly spaced. The same thing with this one that I showed you guys earlier. You didn't like this one because everything is the same size, everything is strategically placed, nothing's coming off the page, it's very boring, it's very flat. This one, we already talked about. Overlapping, variety of sizes. So, Olivia, I want you to drop these sticks. Go ahead and do an example for us. Okay, great. She dropped these sticks, and now we're going to trace them. very difficult.
Okay.
All right. So I have a nice sharp pencil. If you have a mechanical pencil, that would be really great. But you're going to try not to move these sticks. The amount of pressure I'm using is very, very light. Because I don't want to move these. Excuse me, babe.
Don't call me babe.
Okay. Here's my first one. Then I'm going to color this in. So I drew really light, right? You see how it's very hard to see because I drew really light because I didn't want the sticks to move. So now I'm just going to go over it harder. Now you can see it better. And then I'm going to color this in. You can color it in with pencil, crayon, whatever you want. Okay, that's one completed one. So now you're going to drop another pair. If you drop sticks that look the same as this one, redrop them so that you have 4 different compositions, because again, you're going to rank these 1 through 4. 1 being the best composition, 4 being the worst composition, and you're going to tell me why. Or you can write it even on the back of it. Number 1, circle, and you can give me some ideas as to why you think it's the best composition or the worst composition. All right, Olivia, you want to drop another pair? Step right up. Go ahead, try to drop them. Okay, great.
That wasn't so great.
Why do you think this is not so great, Olivia?
Because they're spaced out a lot.
They're kind of spaced out evenly.
So I think this might be
kind of boring.
Yeah, I think this might be.
Nothing's overlapping.
No.
Okay. So here's my other one. Okay, so now we have
What is it?
2 completely
That's horrible.
different compositions. If I were you, I would try to drop sticks differently every time, but maybe the next one you try and group them a little bit or have them be a little bit more stacked and overlapping, right? Because again, you're ranking them from best composition to worst, so you really want to make them all different. Okay, so this is the assignment that you're going to do, and if you have any questions, you're going to email me, but I'm also going to have live Zoom meetings as well so that we can recap all of this stuff. Say bye.